You are listening to Supplement Source, the official podcast of the Council for Responsible Nutrition. And now your host, Jeff Ventura.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the Supplement Source. It's 2026. Season 2 of Supplement Source is off to a great start, and we have episode 2 for you today. I'm so thrilled to have folks from Balchem, one of our member companies, on the episode with us today. We've got Lindsay Cole, who's Business Development and Marketing Manager for North America. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you.
And we also have Eric Ciappio, Senior Manager, Nutrition Science. Eric, you've been on this program before, and we always love hearing from you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. I'm a CRN super fan, so I love being here.
I think you are. We're super fans of you, so thank you for coming on. It's a great topic. We're here today to talk about the state of supplement quality and consumer trust. And for those following the news, there's just last week, we've got Senator Durbin dropping another bill for mandatory product listing. So quality and consumer trust is certainly, I think, going to be on people's minds as they hash out the pros and cons of this bill. So I think it's a great kind of time to be talking about this. There's a lot of discussion recently about trust in the dietary supplement industry. From your perspective, what is driving the concern?
I think consumers, we've seen it over the past 5 to 10 years, are really starting to read the label. They're really concerned about transparency. Where is my vitamin and minerals coming from? How is this going to affect the health of my family? Specifically with moms. I'm a mom. If my kids have, some sort of obvious issue, I really want to get to the bottom of it. I want to get to the bottom of it quickly. And I want to make sure that what I'm giving them is the right thing from the right places, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that that's where it's starting. And then we've seen, I believe it started 2 years ago with Amazon really cracking down as well to say these, are how we're going to hold, or these rules and regulations are how we're going to hold brands accountable so that our own consumers, when they go to Amazon Marketplace and purchase various supplements, feel that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that they're getting the right products.
And, to your point, it isn't just a consumer story. I mean, it really is also about the credibility of the entire industry when you start, right. When you take it one step further, right?
Right. And I think, too, we're also realizing there's so many benefits to so many ingredients, not just standalone ingredients, also when you're, formulating minerals with other vitamins. So I think it's a growing concern, but it's also, the knowledge is growing as well. So it's nice to see on all fronts.
Let's talk about what quality really means in supplements, because I think, it means different things to different people. Certainly within the industry, I think the word quality for some is, it's different definitions, right? So when we talk about supplement quality, what does it actually mean from, let's say, a scientific standpoint?
I think it's something you can measure objectively, right? I mean, you want to make sure that the things that are in there are present in the amounts that you want them to be, that are stated on the label, and the things that you don't want in there are not in there, or at the very least below a certain level of safety that has been defined elsewhere. So, everyone, look, I think all companies, everyone puts pride into their work and they want to produce the most quality product they have, but I think it's important to recognize that these are quantifiable figures with standards that we as an industry need to abide by to make sure, because safety, efficacy, all of these are just basic table stakes, I think, for consumers, and even on our side, more behind the scenes, for manufacturers, both on the ingredient side and the finished goods side as well.
And Eric, is it true that it also transcends even sort of efficacy and safety? I mean, we're also talking about the due diligence that goes into creating products that have a high degree of bioactivity, or their shelf life performance endures, or so there's other markers of quality as well that a lot of companies spend a lot of money on getting it right, and that's has to be part of the quality discussion, I would imagine.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, you think about this from the perspective of you want the positive side. You want the thing that you're buying to be present in the amount that you say it's there at the end of your shelf life, right? For 2-3 years plus. That nutrient that is being offered by this CRN member company is something that is providing a positive benefit for health. I mean, you look at some of the nutrients, like for example, for our K2 product, I mean, this is providing demonstrable benefits for bone and heart health. Our choline products, providing demonstrable benefits during pregnancy and early life. I mean, all of these things are really critical for the health of consumers, and they only work if they're present in the amounts that are stated and formulated to be there. So, yeah, of course, we want to make sure on our side as well that we're giving manufacturers the tools that they need to make sure that they're formulating products that work and deliver these health benefits to people.
So you said the magic word formulated, and I want to get into formulation science now, because let's just stay on the K2 example. So vitamin K2 often comes up in conversations about bone and heart health, but what makes it a good example of why formulation science matters?
Well, I think, well, we both have something for you. Just to tail off of off of what Eric was saying earlier, I think, one of the things that we say a lot is the most expensive vitamin that you take is the one that doesn't work. And so when it comes to formulating with vitamin K2, which is, unstable by nature, you really have to start at the beginning to make sure that the innovation that you're implementing with these formulations with specific ingredients is going to stand the test of time, especially when it comes to stability, so that the health benefits that the consumers are expecting, are going to actually be there and actually work.
It's a great point. I love that saying about the most expensive vitamin is the one that doesn't work. I had not heard that before. That's pretty insightful. Eric, you were going to add something to that?
I think Lindsay hit the nail on the head. I mean, although I would maybe describe K2, for example, perhaps as sensitive or delicate. It's a modern nutrient, but I would say, yeah, you as a formulator need to make sure that you are getting ingredients that are specifically formulated to withstand the pressures and the challenges related to production. So having an encapsulated form, for example, that survives better, especially in the presence of nutrients that may not necessarily play nicely in the sandbox with K2, is important.
I think it's when we talk about modernity and sort of the modern supplement. I mean, I'm reminded that the consumer is also a modern consumer, and I think any consumer who's taken a supplement that has worked well and notices the difference in their health, and then they take one that maybe is ineffective, it doesn't go unnoticed, and so. This kind of special attention to formulation seems even more important in today's marketplace.
I think the flip side is also just as bad too, if you think about it, right? Like where if you as a consumer in good faith are taking a nutrient and you expect that it's providing this health benefit and it's not, that gives you a false sense of security, which is not great either. So either side of that coin is not great. And that's why it's important, not only for suppliers on our side of it, to make sure that we're providing products that again, will withstand the challenges associated with production, but also as a formulator, as a finished good manufacturer, to make sure that you are sourcing ingredients that can do that and provide that quality promise to your consumers as well.
Well, it's also how some of these ingredients play in the sandbox with each other too, right? Like K2, the stability of K2 and its performance is often affected by other ingredients, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about the minerals that K2 works really well with, whether it's magnesium or calcium, these minerals actually tend to degrade K2 at a fairly rapid rate. So one of the challenges that we noticed early on with our own K2 Vital ingredient is, we have to develop something to protect this, because if we're pairing this with magnesium, which is going to make D3 more effective and produce those K-dependent proteins that therefore need to be activated to direct that calcium to the bone. We have to protect the K2. And so that's why we have our microencapsulated K2 Vital Delta, which is, something that a lot of our own customers pair together in those formulations that can deliver better benefits than just, a K2 standalone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about isomeric form matters. We get a little wonky here, but one topic that doesn't get much public attention is isomeric form. Why is that important for vitamin K2?
The analogy that I always like to give is if we think about a key and a lock, right? So we have these all trans isomers, which are going to be highly bioactive and more efficient. And then we have these cis isomers, and you're going to find these, in cheaper sources. I need the right key to unlock these K-dependent proteins to deliver these health benefits. So if you are, looking for a K2 product and you do not see all trans, then it's time to start asking questions. Is this going to be the most efficient K2 to support my bone and heart health? And that's where I think the easiest way to explain, how isomeric purity works. It's sort of a mouthful for consumers, of course, to truly understand what that means.
Right.
So again, I think that analogy is probably in its simplest form the best way to say, if it's all trans, you're getting the maximum benefits.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think these are complexities that, to your point, can often be lost on the consumer, but certainly, something worth pointing out. And when you're seeking a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So let's get into testing and sort of what the testing shows, in the market. When researchers and labs look at K2 as an example, and they look at these products that are on the market containing K2, what kinds of trends or inconsistencies do they actually see in the real world?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from just lack of education, really, about K2 and how unstable it can be, and in formulations, especially in multis, and again, when they're mixed with minerals. So what we did is we thought, it would be interesting to pull products off the market and test them, not for just assay, which would be their MK7 content, but also for that isomeric purity. And what we found was pretty astounding. There was we tested 38 K2 products, some of those just K2 D3 and others K2 plus minerals, and over 70% of those products failed. And mostly it was because these, the vitamin K2 was formulated and not protected from those harsh mineral environments. So taking that and being able to speak with our customers, being able to put something like this out for consumers to understand, we hope to educate and really make a big impact, not so much to call anyone out for lack of quality, but just to say this is a really great vitamin. It's fairly unknown still, and there's a lot of really important considerations that we should make when it comes to providing the end customer with a great product.
Well, and what you're talking about is sort of like quality leadership, right?
Exactly.
Like leading in the space. Tell me about what does that look like? What are some things that, if you're really committed to quality, you're insisting is a standard that you're reaching in formulation?
I think it's really, first for me, it's identifying those regulatory gaps. It's making sure that there is standardized testing for that ingredient. There's multiple labs globally that know how to test effectively for both isomeric purity and assay. And then I think it comes, lastly, to quality control practices. How can we educate? How can we make sure that all of these things are funneling down through these companies so that they truly understand, the type of ingredient they're working with and how to make it the best, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and the best is, this bigger, kind of nutrient picture that the magic really happens, right, when K2 works well, alongside vitamin D and calcium as an example. Well, what happens there that's so important?
So all nutrients, vitamin K included, are fundamentally doing like a basic job of transport, right? And in this case, vitamin K2 really helps to activate vitamin K-dependent proteins, which help move calcium to the spots where they're meant to be, right? So most importantly, that means away from your arteries and generally into your bones, right? To help form your skeleton, your overall structure, to help keep you happy, healthy, and moving properly. So that's why what you see in cases of inadequate K2 intake, particularly in the context of inadequate calcium or vitamin D, is undercarboxylated proteins, which are responsible for getting that calcium into bone, which can ultimately be associated with some challenges for your health. So that's often why we try to recommend folks consume supplements with K2 plus D3, for example, because that's another nutrient that people commonly don't get enough of. And also now even some information connecting magnesium and vitamin D together as well. So we really try and push this sort of vital trio of nutrients to make sure that people are getting some of these common gaps filled in their diet.
So let's look ahead. And this I think is for really both of you. I mean, as the supplement industry continues to evolve, what do you see as the most important priorities moving forward, given what we've talked about today?
Eric, I'll hand it to you first.
Oh, okay. I was going to let you first. All right.
We could do like a buzzer, like a game show.
Yeah.
That's what
we
round.
Family Feud.
Yeah. So what things do I see as being the most important moving forward? I mean, I think, look, sometimes, a good offense is a good defense, or the best offense is a good defense, right? I'm not a sports guy. So I think in this case, the analogy is making sure that your quality standards are really leading the way, right? To make sure that this is a basic expectation, I think, that our customers and consumers have for any product, supplements notwithstanding, right? One. And two, on the flip side of that too, investing further into research to make sure that these products are doing the things that they're meant to do, right? And I think that's something where I can truly say with pride that Balchem really takes leadership in. We have a very robust clinical pipeline, particularly for our vitamin K2 product, our K2 Vital line. And we have a leading quality program as well, which Lindsay has really been our internal champion for. So again, I think if you're not paying attention to the safety and efficacy of your product or paying as much attention as it should be, I think you're really going to lose out in the end. Any short-term gain you might get from that, I think, is really going to be overshadowed by your competition blowing past you and making sure that they're checking all their boxes.
Right.
Yeah,
Lindsay?
I absolutely agree.
I mean,
Totally
now that you've been called a champion, I think you need to say something really smart to conclude the podcast.
I definitely agree with everything that Eric said. And again, I think it really comes down to innovation. It's one step to identify, the benefits, the science behind it, but it's also asking ourselves, what's next in innovation? How can we make this better? How can we make this more stable? And I know that that's something that Balchem also really tries to highlight when we look at what are the next steps for our ingredients. So I think that pretty well covers it.
Well, and I thank you both for pretty well covering an important topic with us today. Lindsay Cole and Eric Ciappio from Balchem, as always, sincere pleasure, and please come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.